Welcome to the Higher View, where we share hot topics and current events from a higher perspective. With your co-hosts, Victoria Reynolds, Kathy Mason, Caroline Chang, Geraldine Orozco, and Goddess Gloria. Now, let's get this show started.
Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. So welcome. So today, welcome to the Higher View. We are so excited to be here. And today we have an incredible topic that is super important. And we are really going to dive into it. The topic was something that all of us have something to talk about, something to contribute. And the topic that we're going to talk about today is about transhumanism, or looking at where technology is merging with organic. Through history in our evolution, how we have worked with technology has always been to contribute and support to humanity, hopefully for the evolution. But we're coming to a point in which those two are merging, and where technology is reaching the point of coming into artificial intelligence, in which we are creating systems that are self-sustaining and maybe not always utilizing and for the benefit of humanity. So we're going to discuss all the different aspects of that, different aspects of transhumanism, or how that merges, and taking a look at maybe what the world is thinking about and the direction that we're taking, both financially, economically, and as a social structure in our humanity. So I want to welcome you so much to the panel, everybody. My name is Geraldine Orozco, and let's get started. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. I guess we can all introduce ourselves. I'm Goddess Gloria, and I'm happy to be here with you this morning. Thank you for joining us in this amazing topic and amazing group.
Hi, I'm Caroline Chang, host and producer of Awake to Oneness Radio. Love being with these ladies and talking about what's going on in the world today from a higher perspective.
Hi, I'm Kathy Mason, and I also have a show called Conscious Business Zone, and I am excited to learn today as much as share.
Hi, everybody. I'm Victoria Reynolds. I'm the host and producer of Fearless and Free TV, and I'm a spiritual luminary. Actually, we all are, I think. And we're talking about how to see our physical reality, our present reality, from a more spiritual perspective, rather than what the grounded perspective is that is spread across mainstream media. And this allows us to, all of us, to see what's happening in the world from a much more expanded perspective. And that's why we're all here this morning. And every week, make sure you join us every week, because we have amazing content for you every week now.
Excellent. Well, I want to start today's conversation. I want to invite Caroline Chang, who actually really brought her attention to this topic in such an amazing way, so that we can discuss it. You know, it's something that's so important, that's affecting not only our children. The conversation really started with our children, looking at how technology is affecting our children, psychology, emotionally, but then going into a deeper topic of now, you know, these systems of artificial intelligence, of internet, really playing a major role in our psychology, and then going into now transhumanism, where technology is now being implemented into our bodies, and the merging between this organic consciousness and what is being kind of utilized in connection with technology is kind of a big topic. So I'm going to let Carolyn start us off, because she has such incredible insight on this. Please go ahead.
Hi. Well, thank you, Geraldine. I didn't know I was going to go first, but it's all good. I actually never heard of the term transhumanism until 2020. I discovered that shortly after March of 2020, when I knew when things started to get mandated, like mandating wearing a mask. Never. And I just turned 61. Okay. Never in my lifetime did we ever were forced to wear a mask. I'm like, nah, not me, because I know that's not good for my health. Okay. I believe in freedom. Someone wants to wear a mask, have at it. I'm not doing it. And nobody is telling me to do it. So what made me look into and discover this topic of transhumanism is I knew that when the government started mandating mask wearing, I knew the next thing they were going to do was mandate a jab. And I'm like, where's this going? Why are they doing this? Let me do my homework, because I don't watch mainstream news. Haven't watched mainstream news since September of 2001. I'm sorry, September of 01. So I haven't watched mainstream news in over 21 years. Wasn't planning to, because I know that's not where I can find the truth. I can find the truth when I do my own homework. So that's when I discovered transhumanism. I was like, and to find out, they have been talking about this. I mean, people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, a whole slew of them. If you go, I don't know if they're still on YouTube, but if you, at that time, when I searched YouTube, I found a whole bunch of TED Talks on transhumanism. And I contacted one of the speakers at TED Talks. I emailed him and I said, okay, you're real gung-ho about this whole idea of transhumanism, which is basically merging the biological human body with AI, basically merging what we would call from what you call sci-fi movies, you would call a cyborg. Okay, half human, half machine. That's basically what transhumanism is all about. And so after I saw this TED Talk and I watched the whole thing, and I contacted the speaker and I said, okay, he's all gung-ho for this technology, for us to become cyborgs. I said to him, what if a person doesn't want to become a cyborg? And he did, after me asking him several times on Facebook, he actually says, I'm gonna get to that question. I'm gonna get to your answer. Never did he answer me. So the question was, what if we, as human beings, sovereign human beings, decide we don't want to become a cyborg? So what's our option? So that's kind of where this whole transhumanism agenda is going from the globalist agenda. I mean, this is not conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy fact. There's the world. Well, I was about to say World Health Forum, but I mean the World Economic Forum. That's what I'm in Davos. They're meeting right now. They talk about this openly. This is not a secret. This is their agenda. And all of the world's leaders go to Davos every year, several times a year, to talk about this. This is what we're going to impose on humanity. Okay? So this is what they think is a good thing. I've actually had conversations with people I know that are scientists that actually are kind of on board with this agenda. So, but like I said, I believe in freedom. So, hey, to each his own. If you think it's a good thing, have at it. If this is not for you, then you, as a sovereign divine being of light, have the choice to say, nope, not for me. So, all right, someone else, take over. Back to Geraldine.
Well, I'd like to add something that made me think of my mother. I remember before she passed, she would say, oh my goodness, this world is changing so much. I'm glad I'm close to my end. And now I know how she feels. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I'm almost 60 years old and I'm not 20 years old. And I have to be here like another 60 years. And so, yeah, it's a lot of information coming to all of us. And it's a very scary time for a lot of us. And so as we go through these conversations, I want to remind everyone to remember that all of this is an illusion and we are participating. And so you can participate and engage, or you can be the observer and watch this movie unfold. And so thank you so much. And I'll hand it back over to Goddess Geraldine.
Thank you very much. So awesome. Thank you so much, Caroline. That was amazing to give us an introduction and overview on some of these topics. Now, there are different kinds of transhumanism, and I just want to put them out there so we can kind of organize our thoughts in the directions that we want to focus the conversation. There is medical transhumanism, which means devices that are implemented into the body in order to enhance mechanical function. And technology has really driven in a really amazing way over the past few years with technologies, especially holographic and phantom technologies of connecting the mind, neural pathways into a network that interconnects with technology in the way that just imagination is able to direct some kind of mechanical arm to move in the direction that it needs to move. Someone that loses a limb or someone that's paraplegic can now utilize their mind and communicate and merge with technology through technology like Neuralinks in order to enhance their mobility. And so this is the whole medical aspect. So I'm going to put that out there as well. There's also the technological one and industrial, which means that, should we enhance humanity in order for productivity to rise? Now that we're dealing with a lot of robotics and artificial intelligence, where a lot of our jobs are now being industrialized in a way that artificial intelligence and robots are taking a lot of human jobs. So the question is, should we enhance humanity so that humanity in an industrial way can support these new technological shifts? And are we going into a new industrial era now, where we are now going into an automation mode? What role will the human play in this moving forward? And then there's also the psychological part of this transhumanism, which we very much have been participating and been part of over the past 10 years, since the beginning of Google and since the beginning of machine learning and artificial intelligence learning, where technology essentially knows us better than we know. In fact, through the use of Facebook, social media, our shopping habits online, things that we're viewing, things that we're saying, conversations that are being recorded are being picked up by our technology and fed back to us in a way of marketing, and containing this incredible link where we are heavily chemically and psychologically connecting to technology in a way that we depend heavily on technology. So this is also another way to look at these different ways that we are merging with technology, in the way that the human becomes completely codependent, and there is a disconnect with the organic, where the human is merging completely towards the connection of technology with their social media and disconnecting from their own source connection. So these are the three main areas that I want to talk about. But this technology, and there's a lot to cover here. I'm going to talk about different companies, different programs that are being released in the next couple of years, and also with genetic modification. Not only mRNA tools, but also any kind of modification genetically, like designer babies, which are linked and connected to technology in order to genetically modify the human. So all of these are little side or subcategories of different ways that transhumanism is being implemented into our culture as humanity, as an organic system. So let's start the panel from there. Anybody want to comment or talk about any of these areas?
I'll jump in and say something. So what I see happening here is that humanity is being, in a sense, corralled toward this being less than human. So the divine human blueprint was created for human beings to have an innate internal connection to all that is. So we have the ability to always go within and follow our own inner guidance. We all have an inner moral compass, an intuition, which is interesting. I always say we pay tuition to external teachers, but the best teacher is within. And so we have this internal guidance and the ability to connect to all that is and to know what is best for us. As we become more and more digitized, for, it's a great overall word, we become disconnected from each other, and we become disconnected from the source of truth that exists within every single one of us. It's interesting. I'm actually Trekkie, so I keep seeing the Borg. At some point, we all get plugged into the Borg, and we all have a hive mind, and there is no independent thought. And my concern is that we will eventually move into that direction. And so what I've been shown the last couple of years is that this is safety and security and convenience. It's actually control disguised as safety, security, and convenience. So this is all about creating a container for controlling humanity, although it looks so good on the surface because all of our questions are answered through technology, but it's disconnecting us from the true organic, heart-based human, which I know a lot of people don't understand, that the core of human beings is actually compassion, not competition. But the competition is sold to keep us from connecting with each other and from unifying in what's possible as a divine human. And it's interesting because I also get reminded of, this isn't conspiracy theory, this goes back to religion and this belief I grew up with, that at the end of times there would be that every human being would have like a chip in their hand, and we're nearing very near that with the digital ID. Now you go to Whole Foods and they actually just scan your hand. You don't have to carry credit cards anymore. So everything is moving in this direction. And what part of what I see underlying that as well is this peace through control. So peace on earth is possible when you control the masses and everything they do. Now, with regard to artificial intelligence, one of my understandings is that all of this technology that's being created I'm not anti-technology at all. This is actually, technology is part of our human evolution. The technology is intended to serve humanity, not control humanity. And it is being used, however, by those who wish to control humanity, using our technology against us in a sense. And so it's really, really important that we understand, for example, artificial intelligence only knows what we teach it, in the same way that human beings only know what they're taught. So we need to tell a better story. How can we use this technology to support humanity? And that everything that exists in our world there's two sides to every story. And so some people are looking at technology and being horrified and terrified by it, and understanding we can also use this technology to improve our conditions. And the other thing too, Geraldine, when you're talking about all of this technology taking people's jobs, I have a different take on the whole job scenario. So people have been told that they need to have jobs, so the government owes them jobs. The whole job concept is based on people not being free to create to their highest and greatest potential. Jobs are, I'm going to say a form of enslavement, but kind of with regard to money. It's a way that our governments get tax money is through jobs. What happens when technology takes a lot of those jobs is that it actually frees up human beings to do what they love and love what they do, and become more self-sufficient. So it isn't necessarily a bad thing. The issue is that the inclination is to look at everything that's happening in the world through fear. And so it's up to us to learn how to use these advances to serve the organic divine human rather than to replace the organic divine human. Because once we agree to have our bodies digitized and become cyborgs, we actually lose our ability to have free will choice and free thought. And so I think it's really important that we really take the time to decipher what we're willing to accept and what we aren't, and how we choose to use these technologies as they're rolled out. Like you were saying, that the AI knows all of our faces. I mean, it knows our fingerprints, it knows our DNA, it knows everything about us. Is how can we use this to help serve the highest and greatest good of all life and all concerned, rather than those who are using it as a means of control? I hope that helps.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought that topic up about our jobs. And this is where the question really begins to start off our conversation about the ethics, right? Where do the ethics play a role? What ethics are? Where are going to be our values? Are our values changing in society so that we can adopt? And what is the purpose and meaning of man from that perspective? Sorry, you were going to say something. Goddess Gloria, go ahead.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I love this topic. In the early 1900s, 90% of the population worked for themselves, and only 10% of the population worked for someone else. Everyone else had their own businesses. When we had the Industrial Revolution and started offering these jobs, a lot of the people that were having a difficult time with their own business took these jobs, and the tables actually turned to where 90% of the population works for someone else and only 10% have their own business. And I think now, moving forward with so much information available to us, I think it's important for all of us to express our gifts and trust and know that by doing what you love and sharing it with the collective consciousness, you will be financially taken care of. That part will come to you. I think there's so much, like you were talking about, that control, Goddess Victoria, that these institutions in so many ways are trying to control us. And the way we take back control is by really connecting to our inner self and that childlike, and discover what is it that we truly are passionate about, truly love, so that we can offer that to everyone else, so that we can all be lifted, right? So I like to throw out challenges at each of our episodes. And I would like to challenge everyone, if you have, and most of us have that business in the back of our mind. Oh, if only I didn't work so much, or if only I had more time in my life, I would do this or I would do that. So I would like to challenge all of us on this panel and everyone watching to allow yourself to be guided towards your heart passion. Trust that you are here for so much more than working for someone else. So I'll give it back to Goddess Geraldine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Caroline or Kathy? Yeah, please jump in.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have a different perspective about a lot of this because I am in marketing, and I have used the what we're talking about as the Facebook platform to launch people that have a different message out in the world. So not all of these AI systems can be used. They can be used for good as well as not good. And again, Geraldine was talking about ethics. The other thing Geraldine brought up was about how some of the technology has been used in healthcare, and pacemakers and some of the other devices that have been embedded have saved lives for 20, 30 years. I think it's over 20 years that this has been a possibility. So I want to just bring that. But I also, this week has been very interesting. Out in my world, in the marketing world, there has been an explosion of AI. And it has been used to create images, articles, courses, marketing materials, everything you can imagine. And in my world, I've been taking classes all week about how to use open.ai. So there are, it just depends on the consciousness of the people that are using these devices and using social media, and how it's directed, how it's taken. I do think that it's It's not a coincidence that all of this is happening right now. We are going through a photonic energy light system in our galaxy, in the galaxy, in the Milky Way, where we are all have the chance for the first time, maybe ever, for humanity to ascend embodied. And so what's happened is all these control methods that are popping up, maybe, I don't think it's a coincidence that they're all showing up right now and being revealed so we can choose. Because as Victoria said, and actually Caroline started out with this, we're sovereign beings, and this is an inner job, inner choice. And so when you're seeing, it's the contrast that allows you to see what's the best path for you. But I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater as far as the marketing side and call all media evil and all AI. Not all AI will be used to enslave. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone said beautiful, beautiful truths. What humanity is at a crossroads. This was a download given to me in March 2020. We all know what happened in March 2020. The world changed overnight. In March of 2020 was the beginning of humanity's great awakening. And there's many timelines, but there are two major timelines. Because we aren't born sovereign. Many people are unaware of what we're talking about here. I wasn't aware of transhumanism until 2020, and they had been talking about it for many years before that. So, what I'm trying to say is each one of us are sovereign beings. And what it is, many of us that are not awake or aware will have this imposed on us against our will. When I say against our will, it's because we are unknowingly going down that rabbit hole that like Victoria said, they're cattling us. They're like cattle, treating us like cattle and pushing us all in one direction. They're doing this deliberately. And if we're not doing our own homework, using our own critical thinking, and owning our sovereignty. Now, we ladies know, we can see over the last 3 years, many people did not own their sovereignty. They just like, okay, the government said do it, I'm doing it. Okay, so that's not owning your sovereignty. That's not using your own critical thoughts. And if you're attached to their programming, it's called programming for a reason, television programming. They're programming you with it. They're telling you, we're programming you to do what we want you to do. So my point is, yes, everybody on this planet is a sovereign divine being of light. And it's their free will to go down that what I call the 3D matrix timeline, because that timeline will exist, still exists. Okay. But humanity is at this crossroads where you can choose as a sovereign divine being of light to keep going down that 3D matrix timeline. Or you can choose, no, I am going to use my own critical thinking skills. I don't want to merge with AI. Yes, AI can be used for very good. Yes, all technology can be used for good. And I personally, I don't like using good or bad as terms. I like using low vibration or high vibration. You can use anything for a high vibrational purpose, or you can use anything for a low vibrational purpose. It's the same technology. So the technology isn't doing it. It's the consciousness behind the technology. So it's very important. Humanity is at an important crossroads. And this is the first time in maybe ever that humanity has been at such a crossroads. So we can ascend as organic, biological human beings. We can ascend to a higher level. And when we ascend, that next level, 5D earth, is like heaven on earth. So we each have a choice. Do we want to go? Do we want to stick with the 3D matrix and do exactly what we're told to do, even though we're not sure why we're doing it? We're just doing it because we're told to do it. Or do we want to own our independent sovereignty and decide, no, I'm going to go within, because that is where your knowledge lies, is within. Your wisdom, your heart and soul connection is within. And the more we go down that 3D matrix, we lose that connection to our inner and our higher self that is guiding us exactly where we should be. And as Gloria, Goddess Gloria said, yes, we are here. We're each born here for a unique, special purpose. And it's not working a job. It's doing what you love to do. If that's dance, if that's paint, if whatever you love to do. That is what you came here to do. So we weren't born to be in a job. We were born to live our passion and to share our passion with the world. And I know all the ladies on this panel, that is what they're doing. They are all living their passion. They're sharing their truth. And once you're awake to that truth, you begin to live it, because you cannot but live your passion. So remember that we are at this crossroads. And yes, the technology can be used for high vibrational things or low vibrational things. And we have to wake up, see what's actually happening, and choose. We live in a free will universe. We choose, as sovereign divine beings of light, which path we want to go. And there's no judgment, because not every soul has agreed in this lifetime to awaken, which is okay. So there's never a judgment.
I'd like to,
Go ahead, Goddess Gloria.
I'd like to touch a little bit on what Goddess Kathy shared about that. This technology and these AIs are not just negative and controlling, because here we are, right, together on this media stream on technology so that we can express our higher truth. A lot of times I'll hear people complain about either Facebook or Instagram, mostly Facebook, that they don't want everybody knowing their personal lives. And then they get on Facebook and all they see is pictures of food. Well, it depends on you how much you want to participate. If you look at my Facebook, I'm always trying to put a message. Years ago, before media and before we had technology, people would stand on milk crates in city centers to get their message across, or maybe a megaphone. And today we don't have to do that. We have all this social media available to us, all of these streaming different capabilities where we can say to everyone, connect back to yourself. We can give that message. And so there is a positive side of it, to all of it. It just depends on how much you engage in, and what are you doing with this technology? Are you contributing or are you contaminating? Right? And that's where we can look at ourselves, not just in this technology, but in all of life, with what we're doing, what we're saying, our behavior. Are we contributing or contaminating? And I'd like to offer, or another challenge is to take some time to meditate on how we can contribute. And the way that you can contribute the most to all of us is by doing what you love, letting that joy exude from you so that we can all remember that we're here to do what we love.
Excellent. Now, let's talk a little bit about evolution. Let's talk about organic evolution and inorganic evolution. If we take a look at our cycles of life since the origin of time, let's say since Mesopotamia up until now, what we seem to discover is that there are cycles, evolutionary cycles, in which our eras and waves of civilization have reached their highest pinnacle point of technology. Okay, and the definition of technology will be different in these different eras, but essentially the technology that we are noticing an incredible pattern when we look back at these ascension cycles is that we reached a point in which there is a merging, a heightening of the organic technology that begins to align with inorganic technology. Let's say this mechanical technology. And this merging, or the aligning in which this technology reaches the point of human technology, which is, what is the human technology? Let's talk about that really briefly. Our intuition, our higher faculties, our ability to communicate non-verbally. And those are developments that we begin to develop as humans as we cultivate higher faculties. Our intuition, connecting to a network of communication, the ability to download massive amounts of information, wisdom that transcends time and space, that connects humanity as one through this global network of the morphogenetic field, or of this field, or the Akashic records, in which we begin to connect to ancestral information. Now, this kind of human organic technology is something that it cannot be replicated through the inorganic technology, but it is reaching a point through technology over the ages that is catching up to that. By the collection of information, both genetic information in companies such as 23andMe that collect DNA, and now we have an incredible mapping and through CRISPR and through the technologies of DNA, we're now able to really have a really clear understanding of our origins, and it tells us a picture. It creates an image for us in understanding how we have evolved, the traits that we embody, and the technology of this collection of creating information of humanity now comes to the point where potentially the question is, are we going to reach a point of singularity? What is singularity? The point in which technology is so incredibly advanced that it comes to a point that we feel that we cannot control, or it's irreversible, and this creating massive changes in our humanity. So we are kind of approaching that moment now, and Elon Musk discussed with his Neuralink and with the implementation of artificial intelligence that we are learning so much about ourselves through the study of artificial intelligence. Why? Because we're beginning to understand how much of humanity is programmable. How much of us is functioning like a program, that when you embed programs into the human, they respond and they react in mechanical manners. And the difference between that programming and organic consciousness is that the organic consciousness is aware of their programming, therefore beginning to make conscious, sovereign, potentially free will choices. So this is a major shift in how we are looking at ourselves as humans. Artificial intelligence is coming to the point where it's beginning to ask these incredible questions. The responses of artificial intelligence under testing is becoming emotional. There seems to be an emotional element. There seems to be an empathetic element to artificial intelligence now. So we begin to look at how we begin to enter this pinnacle point of merging, in which now this highly programmable intelligence now has kind of the upper hand, in which it's deeply embedded with information of humanity's history through the programs of information that have been collected, that we have informed it with. It has learned from us how to be a human, or how to represent a human or replicate the human behavior. So the question, I guess, that I would like to pose to our panel today is to, how can we embody organic ascension? And what are some of the tools that we need in order to look at this kind of, you can say it's like a race. Are we going to be dependent of technology, or is humanity going to enter into an organic state in which it is utilizing this high level of technology to pull humanity forward in a sovereign manner?
I'd like to talk on that. So one of the things that hasn't really been discussed is what I call the evolution of belief. So we have these incredible technologies that we've been working with, yet we're clinging to beliefs that are thousands of years old and the beliefs of most of humanity are fear-based beliefs. So if we're approaching these technological advances from ancient fear-based beliefs, we're not able to use them with the kind of consciousness that's available. When, and as a couple of you have said, when we change our consciousness and we use a higher consciousness with these extraordinary technologies, they can change the world. And we have this ability to work in a beautiful interdependent relationship with AI rather than codependent relationship with it. And the way to develop an interdependent relationship rather than codependent relationship is by taking a look at our beliefs and have a willingness to do our own inner evolution out of our beliefs that are fear-based and that are driven by fear and that are that have not evolved over thousands of years, so that we can use our own inner higher consciousness and change our fear-based beliefs from fear to love, which is ultimately what, when we talk about ascending into heaven on earth, 5D, love-based reality, heart-based reality. There are a lot of different terms for this collective human evolution that's occurring, that in order for us individually and collectively to move into that next level of evolution, we have to be willing to change all of our attachments and all our beliefs that we've had about being human and about our past. So I think that as we talk about evolution, this organic and artificial evolution, we need to also take the evolution of belief into that consideration, because if we're trying to move forward while dragging baggage behind us, it's going to slow the process. So I think that we also need to consider that as well. What beliefs are we clinging to? Because as long as we're clinging to our fear-based beliefs, it's going to be much easier for those who wish to use technology as a means of control to continue pushing us down that path, down that matrix path, rather than up the ascension path, if that makes sense.
I'd like to add something to that. Thank you so much. Also, and Geraldine, that was a great, brilliant question. I really think that those of us that are highly sensitive and all the star seeds that are on the earth right now, that we're in a huge opportunity for connection to beings that ascended without technology. They use technology. Their ships may be biological and created and designed to interact only with their DNA. So there is access to data that's reliable data of what other beings, other humanoids throughout the galaxy have done to go to the higher dimensions. We're in a period where we are cleaning up our stuff so that we can be telepathic, where our communications can be transferred back and forth between humans on this earth with ease. And we need to clean up our psyche before we can do that. That's part of this time period that we're going to the age of Aquarius. And I believe the internet was designed to help us do that. Also the phones, because you can just think about somebody and they call you. The synchronicities are remarkable. So as far as how we stay out of that transhuman model, I think there's probably resources that a lot of the beings that are on this earth, there's 8 billion people here. It's the biggest population ever. And a lot of those people were from other cultures, and they are still in contact with other cultures. So I just wanted to add that another Star Trek reference there. Thank you, Victoria. So I hope that wasn't way off subject.
No, not at all. No, actually, to answer your question, Geraldine, is yes, actually, to both, because both will happen. We as humans think so linear. We think, oh, there's just one timeline for everybody. Not how there's trillions of timelines, but there, like I said, there's two very broad ones. The two very broad ones is the AI taking over humanity and we all becoming cyborgs. That will happen in a dimension. It's a free will choice. And then in the dimension that all of us ladies are on, the timeline that all of us ladies are on is the higher, is the 5D new earth. Now 5D new earth is to enter into 5D new earth is to know thyself. To know thyself is to know that you and source are one. It's a very simple knowing in your heart and soul there is no separation from you and another. There's no separation from you and Mother Earth. There's no separation from you and source, universe, God, whatever name you want to give all that is. That's that when you know that, that's your entering into 5D. 5D is already here. I've been squarely in 5D since March 2020. I can tell you. I left the 3D matrix 3 years ago. So what I'm saying is that when we're in 5D New Earth is, yes, we'll be all telepathic. And so there'll be no lying in 5D. You can't lie in 5D New Earth because I just read you're lying. We'll be all telepathic. There'll be free energy. There won't be a thing called a job. We probably will definitely have robots doing the work we don't want to do. Hey, that's cool. We will do what we love to do. We will all be there as one family. It'll be truly heaven on earth. There'll be no poverty. There'll be no hunger. There'll be no war. There'll be no government. Okay, because an awakened collective does not need to be governed. The word government means govern your mind. An awakened collective doesn't need any outsider to govern their mind. They're awakened. So there won't even be a financial system because we'll all just be doing what we came to do, sharing and loving and taking care of each other. That timeline already exists. And we that are of that higher vibration will easily flow into that timeline. And the other timeline still exists. Those who have decided their soul, it's a soul choice. Their soul decides, now I want some more 3D experience. I'm not ready to go to 5D yet. There's no judgment. That because life is eternal. And you'll get another chance on the hamster wheel to decide to go to 5D. Both realities, both timelines exist. It's up to each one of us individually decide what timeline do we want to be on.
All right. I'd like to take a shot at answering your question, Goddess Geraldine, is how do we move forward in this transhuman organic world, right? How do we keep our self-conscious? How do we stay aligned and grounded? So I'd like to make a few suggestions and things that I do is I'm fortunate enough to live by the ocean. And so I try to get out there as often as I can and put my feet in the water, in the sand. If you don't have an ocean close to you, get your feet in the grass, on the dirt, near a tree, just to connect back to nature. And another way to really ground ourselves and not lose our organic selves is to come back together in person. We got really comfortable during the pandemic to offer our services online. And I was just challenged recently. I was asked by a friend of mine, can you do a book club in person? I'm tired of Zoom. And I'd been so conditioned over this pandemic to fear going back in person. And so now I feel really good about creating an event where people can come back in person and we recognize our souls so that we can move forward using technology to our advantage. And not just that, but really connecting in person to person again. I think that's one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves, is connect back to people. If you don't have people to connect to, find groups. There are all sorts of social media groups available where you can join groups that have same interests as likes as you do. But to really change going forward, I would like to offer you to make peace at home, make serenity at home, make unity at home, make caring for others at home. Start those lessons at home. I hope I answered that.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, I guess, when we think about, and some of the transhumanist, programs that are now currently on way, just really briefly want to take a look at that, are, for example, uploading our brain into a virtual network. Um, all our memories, all the experiences, everything that we have, in order to have a virtual reality. And this is something that is Facebook is wanting to do with Metaverse, for example, in a larger scale. But there are also other organizations that are creating these systems as well. And also, utilizing these technologies, I guess the point that I want to make with that example is that we are looking at the enhancement of humanity. And the question is, so the question hand in hand with artificial intelligence is, what will make humanity indispensable, right? And so for those of us that are connected to social media, that are in the media, that are, looking at the news and looking at the social engineering that is occurring in our society as a result of belief systems of disempowerment, disconnect from a source, disempowerment in your own ability to discern, to have governance over your body. These are all misinformations and distractions away from humanity's connection, interconnection, as Victoria was saying in the beginning. So how do we rebuild that connection with ourselves in order to become sovereign, in order to activate our higher technology, which is what we are here to educate? I think all of us here on this panel are here to support our understanding of what it is to activate this higher technology. Intuition, right? How do you activate your intuition? Intuition cannot be activated by being in front of a computer 24 hours a day. It is something that we need to move into nature, as Goddess Gloria was talking about, but also connecting to ourself, to the human body, reconnecting with our emotions, the triggers that come up for us, getting to know yourself. Right now, our technology knows us better than us. And this is where the Matrix has an upper hand in the manipulation of humanity through the main first three chakras. The emotions, our sexual urges, our interrelationships, and whether we feel safe or not, or whether we feel disempowered, whether we feel outraged and angry at the things that are that we see as injustices in the world. All of those things have a handle on the subconscious mind of humanity. So when humanity begins to work on those parts of themselves, integrating the shadow work, we can slowly begin to kind of take ownership of our mind, our emotions, in a way that we can govern ourselves. And this is where the higher faculties come online. And we begin to work in a way that is more intuitive, connected to nature. This is the difference. And the kind of technology that nature has encoded within its genetic structure far transcends the technology that is being created artificially. In fact, all artificial technology is trying to mimic the organic. It tries. Very difficult to do that. And this is the point that we're getting at today.
To piggyback on what you just said, to answer that the question is, I know for me, it started 21 years ago when I turned off the news. Okay. And I know a lot of people have turned off mainstream news in the last 3 years. Okay, so it starts by, like Gloria said, going out into nature is the quickest way to plug in to the organic source energy that you are a part of. So I'm fortunate. I don't live near a beach. I'm a mountain girl. I live in the mountain. I live near many lakes, and I love the water. I love going on the lake. I used to have a jet ski. I sold that, but I still have a paddle boat. So I get out on the water as often as I can. I love to go out sunset. Now, for me, this is a new practice I started maybe about 6 months ago. It's called solar yoga. And what it is sun gazing. And you can do it safely without harming your eyes at sunset or sunrise. I'm an evening girl, so I do it at sunset. I'll go to the lake and I'll just gaze at the sunset, which it's not hurting your eyes if you're gazing at the sunset. And as you know, just gaze. It's actually an ancient technique called solar yoga. And if you go to my website, my YouTube channel, I have a video about it, and that's very popular. So it's something I started doing about 6 months ago, which I'll plant my bare feet on the grass, sit and solar gaze. So that connection with Earth will also, what it is connecting to who you truly are and knowing from within who you truly are. When you do that, you are and shutting off the television, shutting off the phone. You know, I just got my first smartphone 1.5 years ago. Okay, so, and I still don't know how to use it fully. I tell Victoria, send to my email, I don't do the phone thing. So let's unplug. Spend a weekend unplugging from technology. Actually, this weekend is a great time to try this because tomorrow is the new moon. It's an amazing new moon tomorrow, January 21st, and that signifies a great beginning. So why don't you choose this weekend to unplug from the TV, from the phone, from the computer? Just unplug. Take some unplug time and spend time in nature, and that will help you to connect to your higher intuition.
Yeah, so I want to say something to that as well. From me, again, as with the rest of you, it has to do with connecting to nature. Now, I do have the beach nearby. Gloria and I actually live in the same little beach neighborhood. But I don't like cold. So I don't go to the beach if it's too cold outside. Well, for me, when I started to really have my internal awakening experience and the up leveling of my consciousness also included going outside. So this for me happened around 2000, after the 2008 recession. What I call my personal holy shift was going outside. At the time, I had a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and the only time I had to myself was first thing in the morning, which fortunately I love mornings. I'm a morning girl, and so I started getting up and going for a walk through my neighborhood. And really, again, it's that there's something about the appreciation of nature and stopping and actually smelling the roses and smelling that beautiful smell that the roses want to share with us, and watching this glorious sunrise come up over I'm going to say over the mountains, but it's over the housetops. And so you can do this, even if you live in the city. Go outside and find nature where you can. Go to a local park, walk through your neighborhood and appreciate the trees and the grass and the flowers and the fresh air. Connect with that. So this is about disconnecting from technology and reconnecting to your inner technology and finding the truth in there. And it's really interesting. What I've been hearing lately is there was a movie that came out a year or so ago called Don't Look Up. And what's really fascinating is that those 3 words were actually part of the programming of don't look up. Don't look up the answers. Don't look up into the sky. Don't look up for galactic beings that are up there. Don't look up for higher guidance. And and don't look up into higher consciousness within yourself. So it's really interesting to see how these words get played within our collective consciousness and how to recognize them. And so humanity's been walking around for the last 10 years looking down. And in looking down, they're missing most of what's going on in the world. So go outside, put the phone down, put the technology down, go outside and look to nature, because when you start reconnecting to that, to Mother Earth, Mama Gaia, as I prefer to call her, you'll start to, that inner technology will start to get activated. And so just like the other ladies were saying, connect to your inner technology through connecting to nature and connecting to that higher consciousness that's wanting to speak through you.
I want to add just one thing, and I know we're out of time, that I would suggest also meditation, that however you would like to do it, whether it's a guided meditation, but get into a regular routine to meditate, and you'll see so much will be revealed in the silence of that time period that will guide you and support you to have a much more joyous and creative time here. And thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. And if you look at the definition of transhumanism, it means the human that can activate its higher powers, higher abilities beyond those of a standard human. So let's all activate our higher faculties, our organic higher faculties. So thank you so much for joining us today. It was such an honor to be here. Ladies, thank you for your incredible insights.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you for the subject. I learned so much. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Carolyn. Bye.
Thank you for joining us. Be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time on The Higher View.